The concept of relaxation in Tai Chi is interesting because the idea behind sort of the real technical meaning of what we're trying to do when we try to relax is not necessarily the same idea people have when they think about relaxation, like lying on the beach or crashing on your couch or whatever we do to kind of blow off steam and relax. Ultimately, what you're setting up in Tai Chi is incredibly relaxing and incredibly rejuvenating, but it takes a little bit more explaining to get across what we mean by this term. And one of the ways that you can start to think about it is you can start to think about the idea of hanging off of something. Right? So when you're a kid and you grab on to the monkey bars and you're holding on, or think about what you would do at a playground where you kind of let your weight sink back from something, or you're hanging off it up here and you dangle down like that. That's a sort of relatable feeling. That's the first feeling that you want to get, but we get it going inside the body. So imagine holding on to the bar and let yourself kind of sink gradually and hang off of it. And what do you notice about the difference between that way of letting stuff sink versus not holding on to anything and just letting yourself droop down? Can you feel how in this version everything gets compressed? Whereas when you've got a fixed point that you're hanging from, the hang actually lengthens the body. So you release from here, and everything starts to sink down, and there's a lengthening that goes on internally. That's what you're trying to get across in Tai Chi. So let me show you 3 places in the body where you want to have that sense of releasing, relaxing, and getting the lengthening going. The first one is through the chest. Right? So instead of holding the chest up, or even tensing and holding the shoulders, what you say in Tai Chi is that you want to stretch through the back, pluck the spine up. Imagine this is the fixed point, pulling up through the spine, and you let your chest hang down from it. So this is one where, again, if you grab a bar like this, you let your chest empty into your back, and you feel the stretch up through the spine, but at the same time, you release the energy of the chest, the ribs, and everything starts to relax down into the belly. The second place is in the quad, or in the hips. You want to sink the quad and soften and loosen the quad. And again, it doesn't happen if you go into a squatting motion by thinking of tensing everything up. You won't get any release or any relaxation that way. But instead, if you have the upper body and the spine fixed, and again, you hold on to something, you let the lap soften and settle down. And you start to get that sense of hollowing through the quad. So again, it's like from here, I'm going to just, instead of forcing everything back and down, let it all sink. And there are 2 signs that you're really getting this to happen in the quad. One is that the lap-like quality of the front of the quad gets bigger. It hollows and opens. And the second one is that the space around your lumbar spine and these lumbar vertebrae open up. So the tailbone is sinking. You hear tailbone tucking. Yes, eventually the tailbone rolls under, but not from a pelvic tilt. It's this sinking of the quad that releases the space around the hips and the pelvis and the sacrum. And the third one that I think a lot of people miss, but you have to get this in order to really get the energy of the legs to sink, is through like from the eye of the knee, through the shin, and through the front of the ankle. So again, it's like somebody's holding you up, grabs you in a bear hug. You just let your body drop. Let the ankles fold a little bit. See if you can see this from the side. The ankles, it looks like the knees are pushing forward, right? That's a bad squat. That's not what you want. This is the bad version, right? I try to go down with the hips, but I push the knees forward. Now, relaxing the shins, you see I actually stay a little more vertical. And it's a subtle change in the angle of the shin to go from here's where the foot is, here's where the shin is. You're holding this up. No, you let it release a little bit. You let the energy from the knees drop down into the feet. So you get the chest, the quad, and the shins and the ankles. And you have the lengthening of the spine and the connection through the soles of the feet to really counterbalance it. And if you get those three big places going, you're going to start to find yourself in Tai Chi postures where you get some release. It feels like everything, all the skin and all the muscles start hanging off the bones, off the structure of the body. And the upward force of the structure is nice and springy and buoyant. And all the tissues are heavy and dropping. This is a yin and yang separation of the energy in the body, and it creates an incredibly relaxed and strong state.